And good morning, everybody. Welcome to a Tuesday, 3rd of June, with Ink Production by NC2. And in today's topic, we're going to be talking storage buckets and all kinds of file servers and whatnot. And typically, we're going to be talking about Storage Gateway and what Storage Gateway is and how that works. I'm just going to sign in and MFA. I'm going to be opening up my pool. Fine. Application, fine sheet, start discussing. There you go. I'm just going to bring this over here for now. Okay. So thank thank you for joining today. And today, let's talk about what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Storage Gateway, right? And the things we're going to be discussing, and what I want you guys to do in your labs, and this is going to be our part one today, right? Our one-on-one or in group. And what I want you guys to understand is things that I want you to and again, my name is Sal, I'm your cloud architect and trainer. And today is June 3rd, 2025. So I do want to bring up some information for you and kind of understand how this kind of works and whatnot and how these are certain things that what I want to talk about today. And these are could be the things that we could be doing together in our next step. But I just want to bring you guys the idea and the design and get you guys to get the engineers and the developers and system admins to coordinate and work together in building this thing. If I have enough time, I can show you guys where to do this and how to do this with your accounts. But again, you guys would need your accounts. Create your free tier accounts. There's videos on how to create your free tier account and get you started. Create your budgets. Make sure that you have everything ready to go. With Azure free tier, you get up to 12 months, which is a year, um, with credits. And again, you could set up your budgets and your dates on that. Just make sure you have a credit card ready and handy. And I've talked about that before, but just make sure that you're ready to go, right? And these are the things that I want you guys to do, right? And one thing I want you to do is when I don't click before I click type of thing. So don't move on to the next step. Take your time with this. This is pretty straightforward. These are things I want you to do with me together, right? And you'll get the understanding there, right? So to do the labs, we're going to be talking about three things. We're going to be talking about storage gateway, right? We're also going to be talking about security and encryption. And this is not what we're going to today. I'm just going to talk about what storage gateway is. In my next topic, we'll talk about security and encryption. And then we'll also talk about S3 transfer acceleration, right? And how that works, right? Acceleration. Okay. Um, in today's topic, I want to talk about storage gateway and it's out a diagram to kind of show you what this means. But these are the main topics that we're going to touch base on in a three-part series or two-part series, whatever, as much time as I have. I want to make this as quick as possible and easy with the least amount of information. Again, I can go on, we can spend about 4 or 5 hours on this, but, I'm going to cut this into sections and see if that kind of helps out with, how you guys can study and work together and understand the concepts. I'm going to make this as easy as possible. So we're going to understand uh, understand this a little bit easier, right? So you guys don't get confused. My goal is to get you to understand this and in a way where you can take this with you and explain this to a recruiter, explain this to a hiring manager, or explain this to your client in a proposal, so that way he understands, or just if the question comes up. And these are some services that we're gonna have to some things that we're gonna have to do together to get you prepared for that, right? So um, again, you're an engineer. You're going to be the one doing all the work. As architects, we need to make sure that um, we have the availability, we have the performance. We're using the right machines to get there, and again, working together with other groups in your team, you should be able to work and you know get the feeling of this and whatnot. Again, I want to kind of show you guys how to do it, but again, it's to kind of, if you are familiar with this, please go ahead. For people that aren't, stay with me. If I get 10 likes on this, um, if I get at least 5 to 10 likes on this, in the next week from now, and then I'll create a third part, right? But again, I want you guys to, be prepared. And as you're doing this, please take pictures. Please, and again, this is some important information, right? I want you to um, take snapshots, which are pictures, not the snapshots that you take of your machine, of the work that you do. Just make sure that I see your name and not a picture of my work with my name, right? Um, you know, you're gonna do this on your own. You're gonna see a lot of added value to your work, right? It's gonna build that confidence, especially when you're going ahead, right? So always follow along. If you can't, don't worry. There is a recorded video on this. You can rewind and fast forward. You can use the caption tools, and you can use a lot of other tools or AI generated tools to capture notes. I don't want you to take. I don't want you to take. Sorry, I do not want you to take AI generated tools to capture notes. or voice recordings, right? Um, this is illegal, right? Um, I have full control of and full control of what I do. I do not want you guys to be using AI tools. You want to be able to do this on your own vocally and draw this out vocally. Um, let's see what else I can give you guys. I have some books that I want you guys to read on AWS storage, and these are some great books that I love to follow. And again, Amazon uh, are some good ideas, some good user guides, some PDFs that you can use in terms of notes, right? So books, I'll put these are some good books and documentation. Oh, books, some good books, books to read, books and documentation to read, right? And I'll provide the links as a reference, right? I don't own these. These are written by um, other people. As you can see, the user guide, it's 418 pages. It's free. And and again, this will have all the information that you need if you want to read up on specific things. So also talk about gateway VTL, setting up your VTL. You know, if you want to follow along this way. This is proprietary to Amazon, right? So that's one book that there's also some gateway documentation, some storage architecture books that I would recommend as well too. Volume Gateway User Guide. Uh, this one is um, 2025, so this is up to date. So I'd recommend this as well too. And then there's also your hard copy books, right? Right. So your hard copy books. If you're looking to buy one, some books uh, online. This is 2025. So that's something you guys can look at. And we also have um, okay, shop in the States, or if you're in America, just make sure you're on your. So, for example, this would be storage user guide, right? Right. So this is some good books that I would recommend, like the books that I have on the shop. This is also some other good books that I would also read too. Uh, Packet, which is doctor, um, very cheap to look at, right? So good good book to read. It's I own this, right? You're looking at the second edition. Again, there's paperback and Kindle. Right now, this will cost you again 31, 34, right? Great book, trust me. This is their second edition, and it covers their well-architected framework, right? So you'll have the table of contents here, and this will talk about everything that you need and more. Um, then there's also some PDFs that you're gonna take, and I showed you some of those PDFs. But these are some good books that I recommend. Everybody's got their own, so this is what I would normally use. You're more than welcome to purchase those on your own time and take a look at that. But typically, documentation, watching videos from me, watching videos from other trainers and content creators, is your way to go, right? So again, today we're going to be talking about Storage Gateway. And before I talk about Storage Gateway, I want you to understand that, Storage Gateway is a service, right? A service, right? What do you mean? Why is it a service, right? It connects your on-premises, right? So remember, your on-premises is where you are in your data center or your on-premises branch, wherever you are located, wherever your local area networks are located, right? And it's a software appliance. It's not just but it's a software appliance within in your on-premises environment, software. And I'll explain a little bit deeper so that you get a better understanding of what I'm saying. Um, so it's a service. It connects your on-premises software appliance, right? And with with a cloud-based storage, right? And that cloud-based storage is your S3 bucket, right? And you're going to hear this a lot, or container, right? And this um, appliance with our cloud-based storage, uh, right, which is our S3 and bucket and container, is used to provide a secure and seamless integration, right, between your or any organization, uh, org's on-premises IT environment, right, and AWS storage infrastructure, right? Sure. So pretty straightforward, not hard at all. And again, your org's organization, right? Um, on is about storage gateway is, again, we talked about a service, and I'll bring this up here. What I mean by service, this service enables you to securely store data to the AWS cloud. And I'll show you in a diagram for scalability, scale, scalability, and also for cost effectiveness of storage, of your storage, right? Pretty easy. In order to understand um, how this works, I'm gonna pull out a diagram, and again, I I wanna kind of show you um, a diagram, right? Because this diagram um, is important for us to meet. And I'm going to open up my Visio, right? After logging into my portal.office.com, and I'm going to build or design uh, our infrastructure, right? Our storage gateway. So we talk about, again, when we talk about connects your on-premises software appliance with the cloud-based storage, right? And provides a secure and seamless integration between your organization's on-premises IT environment and your AWS storage infrastructure, right? So if I were to draw this out, we would have our trusty pyramid triangle here. All right, and I'm going to build this for you guys so that you guys know what this is and how this works. And then our square is going to denote our servers, right? So we're going to have our servers, and I want to add uh, smart guides, snap to grid. Let me see if I can. Okay, it's okay. And then I'm going to all right. So I'm gonna denote my squares, and again, you guys see me draw this stuff out before, and my squares are going to be my servers, right? And my servers are uh, are within my on-premises environment, right? So we'll have a bunch of servers, and I'm just gonna draw out whatever a bunch of servers just to kind of to know whatever services I have or whatever we're going to. All right, so I'm gonna copy and paste this one, two, there's another one, right? And three. And these are four boxes, right? And then we'll have our um we'll have a picture of a cloud. So let's see if we have our cloud. Cloud. Let's see if I can find a cloud here. And this is going to be our um, AWS AWS cloud. Okay. That's for Cloud Trio. I'm not going to use that picture, but let's see if I can get an AWS cloud icon. And that's what I like about this. This will have my different um, cloud too. There you go. So this is my cloud, right? Right. And this will be my data center. So I will add a data center, right? And um, I will not fill it. All right, there you go. So this will be our data center, right? And I will draw data center, right? So our data center could be anywhere around the world, right? And look for you guys that diagram there. And I'm gonna fill this bucket. I'm gonna fill this with white. All right, there you go. So we'll have our data center, and our data center has our four, and then this will be our AWS cloud, right? And within our cloud, we'll have our S3 buckets, right? So we'll look for our S3 buckets, S3 bucket. The S3. Uh, S3. That's it. Just Glacier. Okay. Bucket. Okay. And there's our bucket. So this will be our S3 bucket, right? Or container. And this will be permanently, um, this will permanently be there. And then I will go back to my drawing board and I will write S3 bucket, right? And this S3 bucket is is going to be our storage and our permanent storage for the evening. And this will be everything that we're going to need and more. And so we have our this around here, this paste, right? So we have our machines, right? And in our four machines, one of them is a file server, right? Um, And the next one is going to be uh, and call this our web server, right? Because you have web servers, and then another one's going to be called a domain controller. So we'll call this a domain controller. Right? We'll have our domain controller, and then and then we'll have our hypervisors, right? So we can have our hypervisors, right? So this can be our hypervisors, our hypervisors. So we'll have our ESXi, right, for VMware, right? ESXi, and that'll be for VMware. Then we'll have our Microsoft product, which is Hyper-V, hypervisor, and then we'll have our Zen server for Citrix, right? So what's the purpose of a hypervisor? I have videos on this stuff, so you're more than welcome to take a look at that and see how that works. So the purpose of a hypervisor in hindsight, but they host virtual machines and intelligently host virtual machines and intelligently to provide them all the resources of the hardware, right? So in hindsight, that's what that means. So you're gonna have to understand, the concept of what a hypervisor is and what a hypervisor does. Now say we have our S3 bucket, and then within our S3 bucket, this S3 bucket will connect to an appliance VM that we will download, right? So this will be here, right? And then within here, shape, right? And I'm going to color this baby blue, right? So this baby blue VM is, see if I can get there we go. So I'm going to give it some dashes here and I will no fill and I will give it the blue color. There you go. And we'll give it some smaller dots. There we go. So this is going to be our virtual machine. And essentially what happens is this S3 will connect to the appliance VM, and this S3 is our VM. And this is where our application is coming from, right? Or downloaded from AWS. So what happens is, get my other arrow. Let me get an arrow here. Let's see if I can get an arrow here so I can point this out. This will be my pointer. Um, I want to have an arrow here. Arrow, enter. Okay, so we'll use this. All right. And in here, I'm going to make this. And I'm going to color this red. And did I not make this thicker? Okay, so it's going to be a little thicker. And this will be solid. And this will have that point there. All right, so here's our file server, here's our web server, here's our domain controller, here's our uh, ESXi or hypervisor Zen server machine. And again, the purpose of a hypervisor is they host virtual machines in hindsight. And within here is our virtual machine appliance, and that virtual machine appliance VM is inside the ESXi hypervisor, and this VM is called a storage gateway. So this is called the storage gateway. Storage gateway, right? So that's our storage gateway. And I'm going to just a little bit smaller here for you guys. Okay. Yeah. All right. So this is our storage gateway, right? And this is pointing there. So from our S3 bucket in the cloud to our storage gateway in our data center, our on-premises environment. So the purpose of putting an AWS storage appliance in our on-premises environment is to connect our file servers, right? So if we have our file servers, we want to be able to connect our file servers, right, from here to here, right? Right. So our file server or web server, or can even come from a web server too. It doesn't matter, whatever it is, right? So it doesn't matter where it's coming from, but it's more for files, right? For file sharing and file servers. Let me go back here. Okay, there you go. All right. That's the goal, right? So it not only comes from our connects our file servers or shares or folders, whatever folders, because there are some folders in here too, and there's many folders in here, right? So you'll see a lot of folders, right, within here. Like we're talking about, file servers will have hundreds or thousands of folders sometimes, or thousands, thousands, zero S of folders, right? And that'll have that information within there. So, the that basic VM that's hosting our data through our gateway to the gateway VM, and from the gateway VM to the S3 bucket. Make sense? Right? So basically, in hindsight, it's a little bit better for you. Okay, all right. So what's happening here is um, the purpose of putting the storage appliance in our on-premises environment, right? The storage appliance, right? This one right here, um, is to connect our file servers, right? Which is what we're doing, and from our file servers is connecting to our through our gateway to the gateway VM, and from the gateway VM to the storage bucket. So as you can see, it's going from here and it's going from here to here. Remember, file servers, I said, have hundreds and thousands of files and folders, right? So there's going to be a lot of things in here, a lot of files and folders, a lot of action going in and out of this areas, right? From our data center to our cloud. So our gateway will be that VM that's responsible for receiving the data from the internal machines within our data centers, right? So it'll be responsible this gateway will be responsible for receiving the data from internal machines, right? So whatever internal machines will be sending or synchronizing them to our S3 bucket, right? That's located in our cloud environment, in our AWS cloud, right? And that's all permanent, right? So unless you're physically deleting it yourself or backing it up as a DR solution, which I still think isn't not a benefit, it can be a disaster recovery solution or backup solution, but not a benefit, right? What's the benefit? Well, the benefit is availability, right? Especially in a global environment. It's availability in a global environment to all the clients globally. So wherever our clients are located, in our availability zones or in our regions or in our cross replication, um, in cross region replication, or even just in general, right? From data center to data center. And again, you can pull up a diagram, having different zones and regions in a global map, right? So you have your North America, you have your South America, you have your South America, you have your right, Mexico, and then North America, which is divided by your Canada and your US, right? And then you have your Mexico, and then you have your South America, right? But then you also have your Africa, right? You got your Africa here, so you have Africa, then you have Europe, right? Then you have Europe, and then you'll have Asia, then you have Australia. These are specific, and then you'll have different zones and availabilities within these zones and availabilities within these different regions, right? And then your availability zones, and then your data centers within those availability zones, and then your VPCs. But again, it's availability in a global environment to all its clients globally, which means that you don't want any of the clients to use your VPN connection to connect to your branch and then connect to your file server. Everyone's connected to an S3 bucket, right? And those people that are connected will have the credentials and a good connection to connect to, right? So just make sure that you are understanding of what I mean. And I'm going to finish off today's conversation. And I want to thank you guys for your time. I hope this video was informative as it was for me to you. And have yourself a great rest of your Tuesday. Take care. Bye.